What's our big ticket item? Upgrades, people, upgrades. That's how we make the dough.
So I've got a money spending problem. As some of you know, I've been using the Velocity System Scarab for the past 7-ish years right now. And while it's been a fantastic carrier, you know, some of the issues with the carrier itself are just things that I just can't get past, such as the interior material, the actual plate carrier itself, sometimes the weight, but also the lack of a structural cummerbund as well has kind of been eating at me. Pair that with sort of the proprietary Velocity System Scarab, their back panel. I wanted something that was just a little bit different and something that could take me for the next 7 years. So I bought myself a Spiritus LV120. So I've got it set up here. This is the configuration I was pretty much for the most part running with the Scarab, with some exceptions, which I'll talk about in for a second. But to begin, let's talk about the plate carrier itself. So right off the bat, starting from the top down here, we've noticed that one, we've got a QD, like QD point here for the actual shoulder harness, which is great for one, because if I'm wearing glasses or a helmet, it's really hard to get the whole plate carrier on top. And so being able to sort of clip in and out right here makes it really convenient to sort of get the plate carrier on without having to take off all of the headpiece stuff that I'm wearing at that point. Talking about just sort of the actual material build of the plate carrier itself too, one, it's noticeably lighter, significantly lighter than the full setup I had here for the Scarab. I think it's a mixture of both the materials that they use. They're using more of a thermoplastic, plastic-like material for some of the actual internal components, and also, which I'll show here in a second here, it also has this very streamlined kind of design here. As you can see from the interior plate bag, there's this kind of like honeycomb-like pattern down the middle. This helps in terms of actual like moisture, like having some really good airflow. It also has these kind of elastic points on the side here, which allow it to really stretch over and really fit a ceramic plate. And so I find that actually my plates fit a lot better than the LV120 than I did in the Scarab. Even though I'm running a sort of a larger plate in the front and a medium-sized SAPI in the back. So even with those kind of side differences, it still holds both of them very well. And so the material itself is a lot lighter. It's also more conducive to heavier and normally hotter kind of environments as well. So just based off the material itself, it's been really good. And the fit too, I think, just first and foremost, the fit is really good. So for me, I like my plate carriers to ride a little bit higher up the chest. So typically not to the bottom two, like sort of like ribs, and really just sort of be compact to my body. And I find that a mixture of both the cummerbund and the plate itself is just very comfortable. And it also just fits really well to my body. And it's really where I want it to be, which is kind of the whole design. I touched a little bit on the cummerbund here, but the cummerbund is their reactive cummerbund. So this is a one-size-fits-all adjustable cummerbund that they sell. I like it a lot, mostly because, which I didn't know about this before, but with the axle structural cummerbunds, those are typically only 1 to 2 like moly rows, versus the reactive one is actually 3 up towards the front area and kind of 2 in the back. So it actually, in terms of actually putting in like soft armor, anything else like that, it'll be more secure. So the cummerbund itself is quite large and it's quite tall, which is nice for actually putting in any kind of like salad pouches, anything else like that as well. And for the most part, I've kind of kept the same sort of pouches and everything else I had set up on the Scarab and moved it over here. The last part, really the big part here, is the back panel area. So I'm using the same sort of composite, same impact that I had for the Scarab. This time I've mounted though to a Moly panel from Ferro Concepts. This is UCAS, so this works perfectly. It fits right in with the Spiritus. Pretty much no issue in actually putting this thing on. It was pretty straightforward, which is great. And the fit is pretty much perfect as well. Below the Moly panel, I've actually run my same antenna setup. The VS that I've had actually routed through the Moly panels at the back here, so that fits in really quite nicely. And yeah, I mean, so far I've had this for basically about 2 weeks now, just sort of getting everything kind of like set up together. It's working really well. So I'm really happy with the fit. And let's talk about some of the nitty-gritties now. So this plate carrier does really well when it's really tight to your body, and that's something that people have been saying on Reddit. I think that's just the general consensus, is that this thing is supposed to be worn very tight to you. And how that works is that with the Cummerbund itself, it's a rich light material. It's like that thermoplastic material that's actually the supporting material there. But on the inside of the back panel here, there are these elastic bungees that actually allow the Cummerbund to flex and to bend, which is really good because if you're wearing heavier kind of clothing, if you have, like, say, different stuff that you put the pouches inside the Cummerbund as well, and sometimes that volume changes, being able to do that is it allows you a little more flexibility, and also allows it to better fit your person too, depending on what kind of stuff you have. So that fit is really great. I'll talk about this in a second, but some of the pouches that I put inside of here, with that a little bit of less elasticity, actually makes it a little bit easier to actually be able to keep those pouches there versus putting them on the exterior part here. Another part that's really good as well as overall about the plate carrier are the shoulder straps here. And so the instructions for actually installing them wasn't as bad as I thought they would be. There were some folks that were saying that was really kind of difficult. This part wasn't too bad. These do articulate quite a bit, just about the same as the scarab here too, because of the D-rings. These ones aren't really a D-ring kind of design. It's more like a loop almost. So it basically hooks back into itself and the shoulder pads through like this Kydex, Tigris kind of material there on the interior part. So it's really secure. The articulation is very good. No issues like there. I mean, it does fit really well too. So here's an example of the shoulder strap here. This is the stock one. Because I swapped out the QD mount on the interior part here, I have this sort of extra shoulder strap in case I need to. But so how this basically works is that there's this almost little U-lip here. You thread it around, and then it basically comes, the entire shoulder strap here feeds back into itself, just like so. So this is an articulating point for the actual shoulder strap itself. It's secure. I mean, the material here is well built, so I don't foresee any big issues around it. And so I think it does a good job of both being secure, but also articulating there as well. So I mentioned some of the pouches that I recently installed into the plate carrier. And so one of them being, is actually kind of an older pouch that I've had, which is this radio pouch. And talking about the radio comm setup, I really wanted to keep kind of the wiring, all the antennas, everything kind of compartmentalized to the main plate bags, if that makes sense. So either on the front or the rear paint plate bag, I really didn't want to have it so that wires would be feeding through the Cummerbund, having this kind of weird wire kind of setup. I really tried to avoid that. And so I got also these Wingman from Faro Concepts too, in the hopes that I can actually put the radio here on the front bag, have that feed into the push-to-talk, and then have the push-to-talk, all the wires there, feed back into the back plate bag, so that it was all contained, and then nothing would be sort of interacting with the Cummerbund. But as I kind of found out here, and I'll pop open here this, the first spare tube here on the side, is that typically with a plate carrier like the Scarab, or really a lot of other stuff on the market there, the first spare tube is usually some sort of piece of thing that connects to the Velcro itself on the front, and so it'll actually allow you to put these Velcro Wingman here behind it. But with the Spiritus, the problem is that there is no Velcro here on the backside. If this is the first spare tube is built into the front plate bag, there's no way to actually Velcro this behind it. You can Velcro it in front, and that's why I'm actually keeping these, because I can increase the mag capacity from 3 to 5 here on the sides without that much of a bulk. But if you're looking to have it so that, a radio or some sort of other kind of pouches are inside, behind the Cummerbund, inside on the inside pocket here, it's just not going to work. There's just no space for the Wingman. And even personally, when I tried actually doing a bunch of different configurations, I tried moving the radio pouch to the inside. It just wasn't really working, even though I have the elasticity in the Cummerbund itself. I just found it to be uncomfortable for long periods of time. And really, the added benefit of having the radio right here, is that you can turn the volume, you can adjust that, you can change frequencies. And I kind of had to sort of do a trade-off here where I'm not going to do it as much, but it's going to be in a more secure spot. It's going to be still somewhat accessible. If I unclip the Cummerbund, I can still kind of adjust the volume there. So I can kind of get around it. But ultimately it comes down to what's comfortable, and like having the radio pouch here was not comfortable, and also made it really problematic because the wiring then, especially because this is sort of a 90-degree angle that connects the radio to the antenna, that would have to feed this way, and so I'd have to make sure my arm went a certain way inside of the actual cummerbund. It was a mess, long story short. So I put the radio pouch here, and then this allows me to just kind of keep it all relatively compartmentalized to this sort of back area, and I can freely open up the cummerbund and not have the wires get in the way too. So that worked fairly well. The next pouch I want to talk about here is a new pouch as well. So when I had the Scarab, there was really no admin kind of pouches, and there was really no way for me to actually get like water bottles that were really accessible. Yeah, I could swap it out for maybe like a mag pouch or something else like that, but really for me, like hydration is a big thing that if I don't have a Camelback, I had to put the water bottles in like a dump pouch or maybe in the cummerbund here. I just really wasn't, I was looking for better options ultimately. And so Core Concepts, or Core, they're known for their ice plates. A lot of the guys actually use those as well, where the ice plates go inside the actual plate bag. They're like, it has a little hose thing that you can drink from, and it keeps you kind of cool and also hydrates you at the same time. They also came out relatively recently with this new product called the Ice Flask. And so what this is that it's supposed to fit inside of like a radio pouch. I've opted to get their actual mount itself, which I got for a decent price because it was one of their yard sale kind of models. And so this is the Ice Flask. This fits in sort of those big like radio NBT kind of like pouches there, which is designed for. It uses the same sort of like lid as like a Coke bottle, which makes it easier to replace. And so I wanted to be able to carry water on me at any given point, where I either keep it cold, keep it frozen for just to keep me cool, but also just to have water readily accessible. If I do a millsim, for example, I need to have water on me that's readily accessible, that I don't need to have someone go to my backpack and pull something out. So this kind of fits the gap there. I'm still testing this. I mentioned a little bit of the radio pouch, and so here actually you can kind of see that I can actually pull the pouch, or I'm supposed to pull the canteen here from the side out of the bottom. But like I talked about with the radio pouch, I put this inside the cummerbund intentionally. It does sting a little bit, but I'm kind of getting used to it. And the reason why is because if I put it on the exterior part, any kind of big movement, it just has a higher propensity to actually knock this thing out. So this is just another added way to keep the ice flask secure to my body, so I could be inside the cummerbund. So I wouldn't say it's ideal. It's the way that they kind of show off all their marketing, is like keeping that kind of pouch inside versus keeping on external. I was also kind of thinking about, because they have a mount that actually is Velcro that you can, similar to the Wingman, you can mount it sort of to the front or the back. So I was thinking about also doing that too, although I think jury's still out. I wanted to keep trying this because it works right now. At least I think it's going to work. So I want to try it out. If it continues to fail, at that point, then I'll think about some different options there. But so far, not bad. Still works. And it doesn't really impede the overall fit. So yeah, that's how I have set up the LV120. I'm still early days with this. I mean, folks have had it for, at this point, years, just testing things out and sort of giving like feedback there. So far, I'm a big fan. I think, all the things that I talked about in the previous videos about wanting something that you can use UCAS, something that had a structural component for the cummerbund, something that just felt a little more modern and that can take me for the next 7 years, I'm pretty confident that this can do it. There's a lot of options on the market right now. There's the SBC, there's even, I guess the Scarab 2 is also an option, but a lot of options for structural kind of cummerbunds and for structural kind of carriers. And so this, for a lot of people, has become sort of the #1 choice. And so I'm excited to kind of test that out and just validate it. Some things I think, like just something I'm just kind of keeping in the back of my head is, one, like I said before with the Core like pouch here, is like how much stuff can I put on the side here on the internal part of the cummerbund before it becomes uncomfortable. So far, if I put a radio pouch and this thing, it does become pretty uncomfortable. And I elected to put most of it towards the back because when I tried putting the radio pouch and like even the water bottle pouch towards the front, it was a lot more comfortable than sort of putting it in the back. So There's a lot more dead space in the back. I like to put it there. And the radio is also probably another avenue where eventually I've always talked about getting a radio antenna relocator. That would definitely work in a setup like this, I think, except that it's just replacing sort of the V mast here at the back with a separate antenna. Basically, it's the same exact setup. There is still, I think, this open item of ideally, I love to have the radio kind of more up front here in a place where I can adjust the volume, change frequencies, all that kind of fun stuff. Given how the plate bag is set up, I can't do that. And so we'll see if there's other things in the market or anything else like that. One idea that I did have was that so they do sell like first pair tubes that can be mounted through Velcro, similar to how the Scarab is set up over here, where there's an actual like piece of moly or a Velcro section that has a first pair tube. So I was thinking I could remove this first pair tube, get that one, and then that would allow me to at least give a little bit of separation where I could put in the wingman. It's a lot of work, and putting on these first pair tubes was not an easy process, and I don't want to have to do that again. So jury's still out about that whole thing. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think if you're looking at new plate carrier and you're looking for something that's definitely modern, has some of the features that I was looking at, the UCAS, structural cummerbund, a really great fit, I think the LV120 is a really good option. Of course, after I've tested a few more months and just kind of see how it fits, I'll let you guys know. But I think it's the best way I can phrase it is it gives me the same kind of like fit as the Banshee 1.0 when I first got that, and which is the fit that I've been kind of really looking for. Like this was a little bit too big. I think I could have probably gotten a small and it actually would have fit a lot better. But this right now, this is a medium size. This fits really good. So I'm really excited for this plate carrier. I think this is going to be a good option, and the reviews for this have been really positive so far. So I think I'm really excited to really kind of put this through its heels. So yeah, if you have any questions about how I've set up the LV120, definitely let me know. There's not too many videos on YouTube right now about how people actually set up their carriers. People are using it though, which is a really good sign. But hopefully if you look at this, you can figure out if there's other things I can improve on, etc. All right, thanks for watching guys, and I hope you guys see you at the next video.